Hey Ebenezer, how you doing? Doing just fine. How much you pay for that banjo? That's for me to know and for you to find out. What do you got in your pocket? Well, let's play that thing. This is a painting I picked up years ago, and it's basically a copy of a rendering, a color rendering of a black and white photograph that was for sale on eBay a long time ago, and I think one of my collecting friends wound up with it. But I think this is really cool. I'm gonna make a copy of it. I do a little painting. I'm gonna make a copy of it and maybe enlarge it. Anyway, it's cool as heck. I call him Ebenezer. Anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about, let me take these glasses off here. I don't have to see what I'm doing. I can play the banjo with a... Anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about pricing. Pricing of banjos. And this is just my take on it. I was once a dealer. I had a music store dealing with acoustic instruments called vintage music in Arlington, Virginia, and I also made banjos at the Torpedo Factory in Old Town Alexandria. One of the first, I guess, 10 or 12 to go in there. And I published a monthly magazine called The Musical Instrument Classified, which dealt in used musical instruments, used equipment. And in it, a lot of the larger dealers of antique musical instruments and used musical instruments, amps, and so on and so forth would publish their list through the Musical Instrument Classified, and they would every month they would say one is sold and let's add this one and so on, and I took subscriptions, and I've been collecting since like 68 banjos and restoring them and playing them, and so anyway, I've seen both sides of pricing as a collector, as a buyer, as a dealer, as a consigner. So what is something worth? A lot of old folks say, well, something is worth whatever you're willing to pay for something. But then how does one best market that item that he's selling to get the best price for him? Of course, person selling something wants to get the best price for him. Person buying it wants to get the best deal that he can. And an old salesman told me once, how can you expect to get if you do not ask? So if you in your heart think that something's worth $1,000, let's say, but you don't really know, you'd be happy with 1,000. But you really don't know the market. You don't know what somebody's willing to pay for whatever it is you're selling. So why not, unless you're in a real desperate need for money, you don't want to put yourself in that position, you put another $200 or $300 on it just to see what it does. And if somebody comes up and says, well, instead of $1,300, will you take 12? Yeah, okay. So now you got $200 more than what you were willing to think in your mind, because you don't know. There could be a guy out there that would have been willing to pay you 15. You just have to reach him. Or it could be an instrument or an item that only 2 or 3 people in the country want that and are willing to pay more for it because of whatever. So you're testing the market, and that's what dealers do. Dealers can afford to test the market at whatever price they want. You can ask whatever you want for something. And if you can afford to wait 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, there have been instruments listed on dealers' sites for years. So that seller, that person who's consigning it to that store, can wait. He doesn't need the money. He's going to wait till somebody gives him that money or makes him such a close offer, then he would consider that. And on the dealer side of it, a consignment to a dealer is just easy money, very easy money. It's probably the easiest money that they could make. They're not paying for the instrument. They're just putting it on their website or their catalog or their advertising, along with all the rest of the retail stuff that they sell. So they're not paying 50% off a new instrument like a Martin, where you buy usually 50% off list or a little bit more for the bigger dealers. But dealers don't have to pay anything for consignment. And now, consignments are like 20%. They range from 10 to 20, 25. Just talked to a friend of mine, a dealer, thinking on raising his consignment to 30 or 35%. Auction houses are doing that too. Why? They can. It's not, they'll just raise it up. So if you're a dealer, you want consignments. And then another plus for a store that is going to consign an instrument, they'll suggest, to better sell your instrument, they'll suggest strongly that you run it through their repair shop for new strings, tighten the head, adjust the bridge, clean her up, whatever it is they think your instrument might benefit from, they're going to suggest that they do it. And their luthier, their repair folks, charge money. And you have to ask, well, oftentimes consigners don't ask, what is your shop rate for your luthier work? So whatever, if it's like $100, $110, $120, that's what they need to get for their labor, for their luthiers, their repair people. They have to make money. They're in the business to make money. But to give this guy $120 because they think your instrument needs new strings or adjust a bridge, if you have an instrument, if you can't put new strings on it and adjust a bridge, something's wrong. And I'm not going to be paying $110 to anybody to change the strings and adjust it and to wipe it off and all that stuff. So they run it through the repair shop if you're willing to do that, and they'll say, well, it'll be more sellable if this is done to it now that we've seen it. So a side note here, if you're ever going to consign something, get the instrument as playable and as clean, as nice, and just say, sell it as is. And if there is something small, just mention it. So consignments, retail stores love consignments. It's just easy money, and they get a chance to give their repair people some work to do, and eventually it will sell. Or it doesn't. I've consigned things myself, and they've sold, and some have not over years. So anyway, what the question now is, what do you place on it is? What value? What is too much? What is, you got screwed? What, what is too little? That's it, and it all boils down to, hey, put a price on it and see how the market goes. If you get no response, then, and if you need to sell it, if you'd rather sell it, then lower your price incrementally as the months, maybe a year. If you don't, try not to put yourself in the position where you have to sell something. If you consign it or put it up. You see this all the time on eBay, and some other dealers specifically. You look at a price and you're going, what? What? I remember, I used to have that. Remember, it's probably a consignment. Or they paid a lot of money and they need to get a certain amount of money profit from it. That is to say that you have the ability to make an offer. They can counter offer it. You can make an offer that you think it's worth. When I was a dealer, I tried to make money, but the seller should. This is my personal opinion. Is that try to sell your instrument to another collector or another player between you two. Because if a dealer gets it on consignment or whatever, it's going to be more. It's going to be more than a collector to collector or a player to a player is going to give it to you. The sellers are more flexible than dealers. Dealers are in there to make money. If they don't make money, they shouldn't be in business. Anyway, so just test the market and put a price on it that first arrive at a price that, know the price that you have in the instrument and how much pleasure it's given you, where it's going to go, and then give a price as a collector. Know your item. Know how rare it is, or know how not rare it is, how commonplace it is. And do some research, when have you last seen this instrument that you have for sale in another place? I mean, there are master tone copies everywhere. There are companies that make master tone-ish banjos everywhere. They're all over the place. And one of the aha moments I get when I see someone saying, original pre-war master tone, and then, has a reproduction neck, has a non-original tone ring, and then they're asking all this money for. Why? Because they can ask it. My idea of a conversion is either you take a tenor or plectrum neck off a pot and you put a 5-string neck on it. When they say convert, some of these folks, when they say conversions, it's another neck, it's another tone ring. It used to be an arched up and now it's cut down to a flathead or so, whatever it is. And then they still want a lot of money for it. I like pretty much all original. I like the idea of not altering too much a banjo from the original, if possible. I like the idea when the master tone folks put out a tone ring that you take off the arch top and you put another ring on that emulates low profile flathead tone ring stuff. So anyway, back to price. If you don't put yourself in a position to have to sell something, and put a price for its value as an antiquity. I see custom what I'll call boutique makers selling their instruments. Very fine, well done, very nice woodworking and playability. They're selling them for $2,800, $3,000, $3,200, $3,500 for a modern day 2023 open back banjo. Well done. They deserve their money for the hours that they've done and their design work and so on. I make banjos, so I know how much time and effort it goes into. But to see a banjo that was made in 1850, 1860, 1870, 1880 come up for sale for less money, something's wrong with that picture. I mean, playable instruments. You've got way over 100 years old, a playable patented banjo, and you never see them. Very rarely do you see them, and if you do, they'll need help. So rarity, condition, and rarity and condition will dictate me, what I price things. Things that I bought years ago that I thought were a high price, I'm going, wow, I wish I had purchased 3 of those. But hell, there's only one at the time. So when you see something, and you pull the trigger and buy it, if you can, because 5 years down the pike, you're going to say, wow, what a deal. But I would do that with a collector, not a dealer. Dealer would take more time to recoup your money. Anyway, that was my 2 cents worth about pricing. And this is a banjo I bought at Clifftop online. When I had this old Motorola cell phone, and another friendly collector I've known for years, it was his instrument. And this is a, I forget the name of it, Mansfield, E.B. Mansfield, which is way out of tune. This is a very cool banjo. It is tightened by these screws that go through the bottom of the rim. And if you were to take this off, there would be a little ledge going all the way, inset ledge, where the hooks are. And E.B. Mansfield patent. I think it's 1872, somewhere around there. Still doing the boat heel, friction pegs, completely fretless and no flush frets. Looks like the guy really knew how to make those first 2 positions. You can see the wear marks there where he was fingering up there. It's got a skin head. I made that. It's got a more modern tailpiece. It's been a while since I played this. I'm not going to play too much of it. I just took it off the wall. There's still cobwebs in it. There you go. Close. But heck, it's a banjo. Valley Gray almost. Anyway, that's the E.B. Mansfield. And before I say sayonara to this banjo, this is the mine again, where I replaced the scallops. But I tuned this to the prevailing, very popular tuning, E, G sharp, B. And I have that tuning in a tutorial, and I have in my case candy, I found this in one of the old banjos that I picked up with that tuning in it. So it was a popular tuning for the time. Now this banjo, the action is super low, flush fret. The other banjo I just played, the E.B. Mansfield, was a it had original guts, had gut strings on it. This has Nile gut. This is probably the last time I'll be playing this, 'cause I'm going to pack it off. It's a period skinhead, at least 100 years old. This is a really easy banjo to play. I mean, for a flush fret. Anyway, this is a wonderful sounding banjo. Congrats to the new owner. And I'm shipping it off in the case that I got it with. It's a period case. Don't know if it's the exact case that this thing came in. But this is the G mine, patent 1866, flush fret. Congrats to the new owner. And I will miss her. And I will show you in another video the case that it is being sent off with. And let's say goodbye to Ebenezer. Say goodbye to the folks. See you later, folks. See you on the flip side. Take care.